Luffy's future rivals for Pirate King. Now, this is something I've been meaning to make a video on for a while, but I just wanted to take some time to kind of think about it and think about who could oppose Luffy for Pirate King. Now, we have a few obvious candidates. I think the main obvious person right now is Blackbeard, right? That's the main person that we can see, competing with Luffy for Pirate King, but who are the others? Who else do we see on that level end of the series? Who do we see competing with Luffy as far as going towards the One Piece? So that's what we're going to get into today. So first, let's talk about Blackbeard a little bit. Blackbeard is currently a Yonko. He is ahead of Luffy right now as far as getting to the One Piece, and I think he probably will get the One Piece before Luffy. That's my prediction, that he is going to actually get to it and Luffy would have to fight him for the title of the Pirate King. But I do think that Blackbeard is the main person that Luffy has to be worried about for Pirate King, especially because of all the waves he's making and how fast Blackbeard has been rising. So right now Blackbeard is at the top for me as far as opposing Luffy for Pirate King, but I definitely think there are going to be others that can compete with Luffy at least. Okay, so another character that I feel like we've tossed to the side, like Kaido did, is Kid. Kid has been hyped up since Shibodi, and a lot of people felt like Kid was at least Luffy's strength level, or he could be a bit stronger, and I was one of those people. I still think that. I'm not going to just remove Kid from the top 5 of the Supernovas just because he lost to a commander of Big Moms and Kaido. Like, that's not going to happen. But Kid is one, I think he's shown that he has unbelievable will, because he's taken a lot of L's in the New World so far, and he keeps coming back, so I think after he bounces back from this Kaido defeat, he's definitely going to be competing with Luffy for the title of Pirate King. Now, a lot of people talk about Kid's Devil Fruit, and like right now it can't do anything. What can magnets do? But you have to really think about this, and if you watch X-Men and that stuff, you know how dangerous Magneto is, and we've only seen a fraction of Kid's power. The fact that he could create an arm and just casually use the arm right now shows the mastery over his Devil Fruit, so you have to give Kid the benefit of the doubt there. And I think that a lot of people kind of use the fact that his bounty was higher than Luffy's, and they say that his bounty was higher because he killed a lot of people, which is true, but that doesn't mean that he's weak. And a lot of people kind of equate the two, and I don't think that's a fair comparison. But I think Kid is another one that could compete with Luffy for Pirate King. I think he definitely will. Another character I actually see is Law. Now, a lot of people expect Law to be working under Luffy, and I don't agree with that. I think they're in an alliance right now, but Law definitely wants... Okay, so when we first get introduced to Law, we see that there's some ulterior motive. We saw that Law saved Luffy at Marineford, so we're wondering, like, why would Law do this? This is something that I'm really not sure why Law would do that. There's some theories that he probably implanted something in Luffy to use in the future, which I can see for sure. Law is a master strategist, and to think that far ahead would be crazy, but I don't think it's far-fetched for him to do so. But Law, I think, after this whole Corazon thing and him defeating Doflamingo, that was his ultimate goal, to defeat Dofi. But now, what is his new goal? I may make a separate video on that, but for now, I think it's, to be the Pirate King. Personally, I think he's going to focus on that going forward, to become the Pirate King. Now, a lot of people feel like Law isn't strong enough, but I think Law has the Devil Fruit and the potential to be able to do so. And if Law can, find some way to improve his stamina and just the overall mastery of his Devil Fruit, I don't know who is going to stand in his way, even Luffy, because I know Law has a lot of weaknesses now as far as speed and stuff like that, but if he can find a way to hone into his weaknesses and improve his overall fighting technique, his skills, I actually see Law being a huge competitor for Pirate King because of his prestige. I feel like he really cares about that. The fact that he's very smart, he's a brilliant guy, and it shows that Law, once he has a goal set in mind, he's going to go forward. So Law is another person that I think could compete with Luffy for Pirate King. Now, the last two characters I think are going to compete. These are going to be sleepers because a lot of people don't think about these guys. Maybe they throw them out there here and again, but for the most part, they kind of exclude these guys because they're just, so out there. Well, not out there, but it's hard to see them that way. Another thing I want to mention with Law is that we haven't seen any prominent characters as far as his crew. We've seen Beppo, but Beppo's supposedly the navigator, I believe, and a lot of people don't think Beppo is that strong, so I was wondering, like, who else would join Law's crew. Again, I'll make a video on that as far as when I explain Law's true goal, but for right now, I think Law definitely needs some new acquisitions towards his crew so that he can build his power to compete with Luffy, at least right now. But the next character I think is X Drake. Now, X Drake has shown his strength. His dad mentioned in the flashback, Law's flashback, that he's already stronger than all of them, but he's just a coward. And I think X Drake, obviously, he overcame that and he became a supernova. X Drake right now is supposedly working on the Kaido, but I feel like that's just one of the things that they mentioned. You have to work on the Yonko to kind of survive in the new world, so that's what he's doing right now. But I think X Drake has the power and the Devil Fruit. A lot of people sleep on a T-Rex Devil Fruit, but they kind of hype up Rob Lucci, who has a leopard. But just think about an ancient zone. The fact that it's an ancient zone should mean that it's something else to the fruit than what Rob Lucci has shown. So I think you should give X Drake a chance, because I expect really great things from X Drake. Now, as far as his crew members, we haven't seen much of those guys, but I don't know who else could possibly join his crew. I think we're going to see a lot of moving parts. Let's exclude the Straw Hats as far as anybody leaving their crew, but as far as moving parts as far as in the new world, I think we're going to see people like ally with different people, join different crews, because we saw that a bit with Luffy after Dressrosa. You saw Cavendish, Bartolomeo, Hajirudin, and all those guys kind of joined Luffy when on his pirate flag. So I think we're going to see the other supernovas gain that as well. Now, who they're going to gain, we don't know. We're going to get introduced to new characters in the future, but I expect those guys to gain some more people. So once X Drake is one that I feel could compete. I feel like he's a very strong, a very underrated character. His fruit kind of takes away from his overall character, which I don't understand, because if I want a zone fruit, that's probably the second fruit I think of. The first would probably be the saber-toothed tiger, but that would be the second fruit for me personally. Maybe a lion as well, but I think we kind of have to just realize that X Drake could be a problem going forward. He could already be a calamity, so that's another plus for him. We're not sure with that, but X Drake is one I have as my sleeper. Now, my dark horse, definitely I have Bonnie. Now, yes, Bonnie is, I think her and Capone are regarded as the weakest supernovas, and I can see why. From what we've seen from Bonnie, it seems like her fruit can age people. But think about her fruit and what Big Mom's fruit is right now. If she can age people and somehow it has an effect on anything else, she could really create an army of, I don't know, you could have little giants or some shit like that. But Bonnie, I think her fruit could definitely take a turn for the worse as far as everybody else if it's revealed to be this unbelievable power. We saw that Akainu for some reason wanted Bonnie, so she has to have some significance in the future. And if she can finally, get some physical strength, we don't know how strong she was. We saw her kind of stop Zoro, even though Zoro was a mid-slash, and Zoro is one of the fastest attackers in One Piece. So if Bonnie, we don't know exactly how strong she is. We saw that her crew wasn't really pointed out to have that many strong people, but I think a lot of people are going to be moving in a new world, and we're going to see a lot of this going forward. So Bonnie is another one. A lot of people sleep on females in One Piece, just for the main reason that they're female. I think that Big Mom is kind of the example for Bonnie, that a woman could break into that conversation. So I don't sleep on Bonnie at all. I do think she's probably second to last as far as strongest supernova based on what we've seen, but I'm optimistic as far as Bonnie in her future. So Bonnie is definitely another one. That's pretty much all the characters I have right now that could compete with Luffy. I think going forward, we're going to get introduced to some more characters that could possibly do some damage. You saw all the characters that we got introduced to in Dressrosa, so you shouldn't be surprised if in Wano, even the whole cake, we get some characters that could possibly ally with some new people. Again, my video on Law will be coming out soon as far as his true goal. I will discuss his new characters that could possibly join his crew, and then have one for each of the supernovas, so that we can just have a series of that. But let me know if anybody else you've thrown in the conversation. Do you think any of the guys that's allied under Luffy could probably betray him and try to take his crown? Or do you think somebody else coming out of the new world? Do you think an admiral or some vice admiral turns into a pirate or something crazy like that? What do you think happens? Give me your thoughts. Of course, like the video, subscribe to the channel for more content, and peace out.